My dear brothers and sisters in the Lord, the writers of the Old Testament literature books, such as the book of Job, the book of Ecclesiastes, and the books of wisdom, and many others, had one main question to answer. That is the question of the evil in the world, and the good and supreme God, who is the creator and controller of everything. Looking at the prevalence of evil existing and how even innocent people suffer, many of these writers were of the fact that either God is not good and merciful, or he is not powerful to stop evil from existing in the world. Some of the writers even went to the extent of thinking that God is the cause of evil in the world. I am sure some of us battle with this same question today. There are many of us today who question, if God is really good, why am I suffering? If God is really good, why is there evil in the world? Why does God allow sickness in my life? Why does God allow hunger and poverty in my family and in the world? Many times when our loved one dies, we hear questions being asked, where is God? Is God really there? I have heard many people ask, where was God when this or that happened? It is from this background, dear brothers and sisters, that our readings today can be properly understood. In our first reading today, which is taken from the book of wisdom, we hear how the author clearly says that God does not take pleasure in the pain and suffering of human beings. God does not take pleasure in evil in the world. Dear brothers and sisters, we all are created in the image and likeness of God. And as God our creator is, we also, created in the image and likeness of God, are imperishable. And therefore, once we are united with God, evil, pain and suffering has no power over us. Similarly, in our gospel reading today, Jesus clearly demonstrates the fact that God comes to remove evil, pain and suffering in our lives. We encounter Jairus, who is so desperate for help. Being quite a wealthy man in the society, Jairus must have struggled going to hospitals to cure his daughter. At the end, when all human effort failed, he must have told himself, if only I should go to Jesus, if only I should approach Jesus, my daughter will be healed. That's why he approached Jesus, fell at his feet, and begged him to heal the life of his daughter. Dear brothers and sisters, I am sure we can still remember our gospel reading of yesterday, when the synagogue centurion approached Jesus and asked for help. Jesus did not go to the house of this centurion, but granted his request from afar and from a distance. But in our gospel reading today, Jesus decides to go to the home of Jairus. We may ask ourselves, why is Jesus going to the home of Jairus today? The main purpose of Jesus going to the home of Jairus is to create a personal relationship, is to have a personal encounter with Jairus before curing his daughter. Dear brothers and sisters, on the way to the home of Jairus, Jesus encountered another desperate person, a woman who has suffered bleeding for 12 good years without any help. Jesus discussing with this woman, as this woman said to herself, if only I should touch the cloak of Jesus, I will be healed. This woman, unlike Jairus, is not even feeling herself worthy enough to approach and to talk to Jesus. This woman touched the cloak of Jesus and gets healed. She desires to disappear in the crowd unnoticed by anybody. But Jesus interrupts her. The interruption of Jesus is not to humiliate this woman, but is to create a personal relationship with this woman. Because the miracles of Jesus don't work as magic, where we can just go touch and we get healed. For the miracles of Jesus to work in our lives, two things that are required: faith and personal relationship with Jesus. That is why Jesus is going to the home of Jairus to strengthen this relationship. That is why Jesus interrupts this woman to create a personal relationship. Unlike Jairus and this woman, many of us today want miracles in our lives. Many of us today are desiring to experience the miracles of Jesus in our lives. But we don't have that faith and we don't have that personal relationship with Jesus. Dear brothers and sisters, from the healing of Jairus' daughter and this woman in our gospel reading today, first, we can learn that the miracles of Jesus are not working as magic. We cannot just touch and go, but we need faith and relationship with Jesus. Both of these two personalities demonstrate this very well to us today. Christians today, as we encounter many Christians today who put on sacramentals such as scapulas, such as rosaries, without any faith, without any relationship with Jesus, those become magic. For the sacramentals which we put on to work in our life, first we need to have faith and we need to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I have experienced in different places, in different societies, in different countries, people who put on rosaries without ever even praying a single decade of the rosary. In that way, the rosary we are putting on ceased to be a sacramental, but just a fashion. Dear brothers and sisters, another important point for us to learn in our gospel reading today comes from the response of Jesus to Jairus. After receiving the sad news of the death of his daughter, Jairus was so disappointed. But Jesus tells him, "Do not be afraid, only have faith." Jairus was so disappointed because his only hope was in Jesus, that Jesus was going to cure his daughter. This woman also in our gospel reading, after suffering for good 12 years, was definitely so disappointed. But Jesus tells both of them today, "Do not be afraid, only have faith." Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, I am sure in our lives at different points, we have also been in one way or another disappointed, up to the point of losing hope and faith in God. It could be during sickness in our lives, in our families. It could be during physical, psychological, or emotional crisis we experience in our life. It could be because of financial or family problems we experience in our marriages and in our families. Jesus is addressing each and every one of us today. Do not be afraid, only have faith. Jesus is inviting each and every one of us today to be strong in our faith, to be strong in our Christian life. Each and every one of us today is invited to hear Jesus calling you by name and saying to you, whatsoever pain and suffering you are experiencing in your life, my daughter, my son, do not be afraid, only have faith. Yes, my dear brothers and sisters, we're invited to have faith in Jesus. Do not be afraid, because Jesus is in control. Since Jesus did not let down Jairus and the woman in our gospel reading today, He will not let you down. Trust and surrender to him. He is there for you now and forever. He is telling you today, whatsoever pain you are facing, whatsoever challenges in your life, do not be afraid. Trust in me. Have faith. Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, let us pray for strong faith in God. Pray for strong faith in Jesus Christ. That always our faith will be strong. That always, as Jesus tells each and every one of us today, we should not be afraid. We should only have faith. May the grace of Jesus be with each and every one of you, and may it help us all to be strong in our faith as we approach Jesus, as we tell ourselves, if only I should touch his cloak, I will be healed. If only I should encounter him, I will be healed. The Lord be with you and have a blessed week.